Welcome to the #1 spot health and wellness practitioners go to double their current income and turn their 10-hour work day into a 10-hour work week. Join us as we dive into the tips, tools, and tech you need to create a life and practice on your own terms. More freedom, flexibility, fulfillment, and of course, funds. It's time to build your online practice. And I'm your host, Michelle Rogers, also known as the Wealthy Woman. Be sure to subscribe for your weekly dose of education, inspiration, and action. Let's get started. It is Practitioner Spotlight Day. I'm so excited. If you guys haven't been to a Practitioner Spotlight, welcome. We do these every first Monday, and the practitioners that we have come on here have either been through the Wealth Mentorship that has now evolved into the Wealth Academy, or they're currently inside. And so today I'm excited to introduce you to Angie, who has a background as a chiropractor, still practicing as a chiropractor. So we will chat about her progress, transformation, like what has been going on in her life, what kind of stimulated the shift, the change, the pivot, and what life looks like. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome. So you want to give like a little bit of a background of just like you, your practice, your like what everything was like prior to actually starting to make a transition?
Absolutely. Sure. So I own and operate my own chiropractic business in Minnesota, and I've been in practice 15 years this year, and it would be what most consider high volume. So it's every day I'm there. It's very lively. We're there to work. We're there to help people, serve people. And it's wonderful. But it was leading me to burnout. And it took me a long time to realize what was actually burning me out. And I love what I do. I love chiropractic. I love the power of an adjustment. And yet it wasn't enough. And so it took me, 3 kids and lots of exploring to finally figure out that I really craved freedom and flexibility. And I was creating something that was the exact opposite. And yet I'm so driven to build something and to help people. And I finally realized, okay, I need to figure out another way to help people that serves me too, and doesn't lead to me serving other people at the expense of my own self. And so at the same time, my daughter started to really struggle with eczema and high anxiety that became pretty severe, very severe mood swings, very, very high highs that I just knew weren't normal. And I wasn't happy with the answers we were getting. We saw some providers that said, just be gluten-free and take this probiotic. I'm like, well, that's not working. And she was getting worse. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to solve this myself.
Oh my gosh.
So I went through just diving into functional medicine types of smaller classes and podcasts and books and all the things. And that's when I came across your video in Rupa Health on functional labs. And I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for. This meets the need to help my daughter. This meets the need to shift into that helping space in a different way. It's online, which is what I crave because it gives me the flexibility that just fuels me, but also that need to want to help people in a really holistic way. And the functional lab part is really, it fits so well with the chiropractic part because I talk function all day long. We're talking about function in our system and how it influences the body and how the body functions, and that determines health. And have this conversation all day long. And now to see that, I was like, that's what I've been waiting for.
That is so cool to just hear it, like to hear you just like map it out like that. Like that is so cool. That's so cool.
It was the merriment of both of those that led me down that path. And so I touched base with you and we hopped on a call. And I still wasn't sure, like, huge imposter syndrome. I don't know if I can truly pull this off. Like, I don't know. I can't do it like they can do it.
Because you were just like literally just diving in, like just getting your toes wet.
Yes.
And like,
I know a lot about healthy living and healthy lifestyle and holistic living, but nothing about lab stuff or any of that. So I was just getting my toes wet. I had just signed up for a Rupa account to start exploring what that might look like when I came across that. So I was a brand newbie to this functional medicine realm in that way.
So cool. And I love that you just like immediately felt that connection with the functional piece. Cause obviously I'm not a chiropractor, but I worked with several chiropractors and I love the work that you guys do. And so I know you have a very similar philosophy around, like, in naturopathic medicine, we call it the vis naturae, the vis medicatrix naturae, and in acupuncture, we call it chi, like, and in chiropractor, you call it, what is the term that you guys
innate
use?
Intelligence.
Innate intelligence. Yeah. So it's like this similar thread that's through all of these like functional, holistic modalities, that it's like, we're all talking about the same thing, yes. We just have like different words for it. And it's so cool. And this is one of the reasons why I love having different modalities inside of our container, because it's like, it's just so cool to like have the different perspectives and the different like, ways of looking at things, when it's like, oh, that totally makes sense. And you can start like putting points together and like all these things. You're like, whoa, that's what we've been talking about over here, but that's what you're talking about over here. Like, it's just like bing, 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 bing.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it.
It's just so awesome how they go together to make something stronger and better.
Yes, exactly. So cool. So what inside of the container, like when you joined the mentorship, obviously you decided to take the leap. It sounds like you weren't totally sure. Do you want to talk about that process? Because I'm sure so many people can relate to that, of just like, okay, I really know like I need something as my next step. Like, I think this might be it. Like, but I feel insecure about my own capabilities, or like whether or not I can do this. Like, what was it where you were just like, let's go, like, I'm in?
I finally decided to do it because I was like, I tend to be a little quick to take action and then go, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So I actually was a little proud of myself that I paused. I'm like, okay, just pause. Life is really full at this moment. Do you really want to take this on? And something just told me, like, you have to, because you're going down the path of burnout again. It wasn't the first time, unfortunately. And I'm like, okay, I have to, because if I don't, what is my other option? And I didn't want the other option. So I'm like, well, let's buckle up and let's just get this done. And so I signed up last December, it was. And I solo parent. I have 3 kids. I solo parent a lot because my husband's gone. I homeschool one of them. And I run my own lively, busy practice. So like, life is no shortage of full. But yeah, I made it work. And I can't remember if it was Anya or Carla told me one day on office hours, because I beat myself up around, I'm not keeping up. I did this, but I had to skip this. And they're like, you're right where you need to be. Just take a breath. And I was like, oh, that was great. So I always remember, you're right where you need to be.
Yes.
Trust the process. And so it was great. I was able to farm from within my practice. So I'm like, all right, well, what's the priority? And so I dove into the lab modules. I dove into the material that could get me doing it right away. And I skipped over the social media stuff because I didn't need it.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I love that. So I'll come back to that. I haven't watched it yet.
And that's okay. Like, you get lifetime access. And it's like, if there comes a time when you need it, awesome, it's there for you.
Exactly. That's the best part. Like, you can pick and choose. And I'm like, okay, I don't have to follow this perfectly. I'm going to pick and choose and prioritize.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. And so I just dove into those. And then I had some family members that were interested. So I got started with them. And then I just started rolling it out, and kind of taking pre-signs, and made a wait list for my current office. And I was astounded at the number of people that were super interested. And I really would say, like, they were interested because they could see how much I was passionate about it and how much I loved this, and like how good this program is, how good these tests are in comparison to other things that you might have heard of or experienced. And you've got to try this for this. And so they're just like, oh, wow. Okay.
I love that. Like, that piece right there is so key. And that's what I like tell practitioners, I'm like, when you're making that transition, like when you want to like start something new and you want to pivot into something else, it's like, get people hyped up about it. Like, because you're so passionate. If you weren't so passionate, you wouldn't be taking that direction. Like, if you aren't passionate about, like, maybe don't do it, but like, let them in and like, let them see and like, like explain and educate and like, just share your passion and your why with them. And they can feel that. And just like you experienced, they're like, okay, like this is what I want, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. So I started getting some people signing up, and I still struggle. It's getting better and better. With imposter syndrome. I go back to your hypnosis track. It's seriously amazing. So thank you for putting that in there and thinking of that piece of the puzzle. But I love having the community behind it to go, well, I don't have to know all the answers, because I have all these people where I can post some labs and ask them questions and just put out, here's what I'm thinking. Am I on the right track? And I just love that I don't have to know it all. I'm still learning it, but these people are here to help me. So why not just get started?
Yes, I love that. That is like, you're kind of like my ideal client when it comes to that. It's just like, yes, it's like you learn the best. Like, I know I learn the best when I do it, right? Like you can read 1,000 books, you can do all the things, but like, it's the application, it's the action that creates the confidence. Right. And that's what builds it. But like you're saying, it's the courage that actually takes to make the action happen. Right. So it's like you need courage, then you need to take action. And then after you take action, you get the confidence. And it's like it just builds and builds and builds and builds. And so it's like, I mean, I see the labs that you're posting inside of the group and everything, and you're asking great questions. And it feels like you're really starting to grasp like how to put everything together. And you're actually taking people through these protocols now. Right. And you're like seeing things happen, which I think like, do you want to talk about that? Like, how have you kind of experienced transformation in your clients just from solely working with them from like a chiropractic perspective to now really diving into this different way, like this different way where you're interacting with them online and doing the labs and like putting together protocols? Like, what's that experience been like for you?
It's been really cool to be able to take someone, and I know so much about them already, but now we dive really deep and really thoroughly into all the other aspects. And in my practice, I don't have a lot of time to do that in the day-to-day. And so it's really amazing to be able to schedule and get that time while I work from home to dive in and be like, well, tell me more about this, this, and this. And then to just start to put all the pieces together. Instead of feeling like, well, I'm doing a great job with your nervous system and your spinal health, I don't have time to access the rest of it and to talk about the rest of it. So it's so great to feel like I can bring it more full circle and bring in the labs, bring in more lifestyle advice, and really start taking them through like, well, let's talk about sleep and exercise and water, and not just here are some supplements either. So it is really cool to be able to bring that extra aspect to create a much more well-rounded approach for people, and yet do it from home. Last week, I took my kids to a pool and I worked from the pool while they played. So I just love it. I get to do it, but not in my office.
Yes. So cool. So cool. I love that. I mean, it's like, you don't have your hands tied behind your back anymore. It's like you have it's like, you know, we think about freedom as like financial freedom or geographical freedom, but it's also the freedom to like work with your clients in the ways that you truly want to be working with them. And like, there's like this deep soul calling, I think a lot of us feel, where it's like, I know, I want to do so much more. And I know there's like so much more that I can offer you. And you really want to give from that space. And it's like, but in a lot of the confines that we've put ourselves in, the boxes or the walls or the ceilings or whatever, it's like our hands are literally tied behind our back and we're like, sorry, 15 minutes is up, like next, or even half an hour, 30 minutes is up, next, even whatever that might be. It's like, there's still so many, like walls and boundaries and like red tape everywhere. And it's just like, no, there's so much more that we can do. And it's so much, that's where the fulfillment comes in too, right? Of being able to be like, yes, like I'm actually helping this person create a massive, deep, long-lasting transformation that not only affects them, affects their family, affects their community, affects like everything. So it's just like a win, 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 win across the board. So
Absolutely.
I love
Absolutely.
that so much. So currently you're doing kind of like a hybrid thing, yeah?
Yes.
So
Yep.
do you see yourself kind of continuing on with hybrid, like part in person, part online? Are you going to move all the way? Or are you still up in the air? Or what's your trajectory look like?
Yeah, for this phase of life, I really like a hybrid. As much as I love working from home, I love to travel. So I really want to work and travel. I just want to be more portable, more flexible for my kids' schedules as they're getting older. But I love people. So being not around people physically would be also very hard. So my goal is to shift towards working probably 3 half days in my office as a chiropractor, and then fill the rest of my time with the online functional health consulting, and
So
just
cool.
do a little merriment of both. And then as the kids get older, we'll just kind of see where it goes. And today I had a new chiropractor start. So I'm finally truly moving in that direction. By fall,
Wow.
I'm going to knock off a half day. By the end of winter, I'm knocking off another half day, and then I will be there. So
Congratulations.
so exciting.
That is so exciting.
I can move there without letting my practice go. I really didn't want to do that. Again, I love it. I just don't want to be the only one working in it.
Yeah.
So I finally met a fantastic chiropractor that's going to work alongside me, and she's going to just pick up mine and grow some of her own. And so that baby of mine gets to keep going while I build this baby of mine over here. I'm just
that is the dream. That is so beautiful. Congratulations. Like what a beautiful like progression. And again, like going back to the freedom and flexibility, it's like the flexibility, the freedom to be able to bring someone else in and like know that like you're not going to lose money or like it's not like I'm sacrificing something. It's like, whoa, I'm like creating even more abundance. Like I get to show up even better for my kids and like my own clients or patients. Like, hello, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, so
awesome.
good. So good. Okay. I have one question that I know someone watching this is going to have is when you sort of presented, and yes, you like hyped up your current people and everything, but when you presented this new program, this new approach, integrating functional apps, doing more of a comprehensive program, what was their response as far as like, I know a lot of practitioners out there are nervous about charging like a higher ticket. And I know you specifically, Angie, like you have one of the least amounts of money mindset issues I've ever met in a practitioner. So I love that so much. And like, I know that it's something practitioners think about like, oh my gosh, like how am I going to go from like an hourly rate or like a, fee for service kind of model and then like bring in this comprehensive thing, which is like, orders of magnitude difference in price. Like what was your experience with that? Or were you like, I'll leave it at that. What was your experience with that?
Well, I will preface with, I run a cash practice. So for 15 years, I have been selling cash plans to my patients. So I don't do insurance. So I've been talking cash for a long time. Now, not high ticket offers. So the amount is very, very different. But yeah, through the years, I'm used to selling, so to say, people and having people pay cash for their services. And I very much know and understand the value you give people when they're paying you cash. You can truly provide the service they need versus what the insurance company might dictate. And those are two often very, very different things. And so I'm really good with those types of conversations because I've lived there for a long time. But bringing this in took it up a notch. But I am very comfortable because I have the certainty of knowing like if we don't do this, I know the path you're going to take, and it is far more expensive than this. So believe me, the one trip to the ER, an MRI, like all these things are so much more. They're 4 or 5 times, 10 times more than this. So let's do this now and let's save you some money by only spending this versus spending that. Because if you do nothing with your health, we both know where it's going to go. And we both know that is not a cheap price tag. And people know, like they just know that they have high deductible HSAs and insurance is terrible and everyone gripes about it. Well, then let's take some action and let's save you money by investing in yourself in this incredible program, because truly there's just nothing better. I've worked around functional medicine people. I really have the utmost respect for them, but I really see how it can be done differently and how strong these functional labs are in getting to it. I love that you make a plan. Like, okay, here's our 6-month plan. Here's our expectations. And people really love to know it's not just open-ended. You're not going to keep me on supplements for 3 years and I don't know where we're going and where we're going to end and how you know we need to stop. Like, we lay it all out and we just map it out. Here's our journey month by month of what we're going to do and what we expect. And here's how we're going to walk through it. And here's when we're done. And we're going to talk about wellness care. And people respond really well to your certainty. There's a plan. You know what you're doing. So sign me up.
Yes. I bet this was just like a mini training, you guys, like a mini sales training, just boom. Like that's what this was. Exactly. Like I couldn't have said any of that any better. Like that's beautiful. It's a beautiful example of like how to chat with someone, because that is truly the reality, right? Even when we're working with people like preconception care, fertility, it's like, what's one fertility treatment cost? Yes. $20K plus. Exactly. What are you paying for your premium and getting nothing from? $10K per year?
Yep. And they'll readily spend it because they value that and they want that. Yes. They just need to know the value this brings. And then they'll absolutely spend it.
Yes.
If that's where their value lies. And if their value doesn't lie in that, then we just weren't meant to work together either.
Yes.
And then we move on.
Yeah. And who knows what kind of seeds you planted at that time too, right? And then they go back and they're like, oh, actually, like my health is affecting my sex life and my job and like my interaction and my stress level and my tolerance and my
because they start thinking through all the things from your conversation. They're like, oh, this is impacting me more than I thought. And then I'm grumpy with my kids and my husband and my job, and it's impacting all of this. And and if you just create that open door of come back when you're ready, they have to do when they're ready. And now they'll actually take the action they need.
Yes.
Versus feel like you're dragging them along. They're like, I'm 100% ready now.
Exactly. Oh, so good. So good. This was so good. Is there anything else that you want to share or say or anything to practitioners who are watching, who are like wanting to build their online practice, or like, you know, they're like, I know I want to do this, but I don't know the next steps. And I am having imposter syndrome and like all these things. Like, what would you say?
Just trust Michelle. She's got you. Like truly, she's thought of everything from mindset to here's your forms and here's how you sign up for Practice Better, like the logistics to the mindset, to the systems, to the labs. Like you've truly thought everything through from beginning to end. And it's just phenomenal how thorough this program is, how thorough you are, how helpful you and your team are on the community.
Thank you.
So I would say if you're thinking about it all, just dive in and just go for it and just trust the process, because you're going to do great. You're not going to fail. You're going to be good. So just dive in.
Thank you, Angie. Oh, you're amazing. I'm so proud of you. Like, I love how everything is unfolding, and I just like love your dedication and your perseverance and just like doing the thing and taking the action and diving in and trusting yourself and trusting me. So thank you. It's all paying off, and like you're moving more and more towards that life of just like more freedom and flexibility and fulfillment. And it's so beautiful. So
it is. It's so exciting. So it feels really good.
Yay. Thank you so much. I will chat with you so soon. Have a beautiful rest of your day. All right, that's a wrap for today. If you want the exact breakdown of how I help practitioners go from their first 5K to consistent 50K months with just 2 offers, 10 hours per week, and an audience of less than 500 people, be sure to click the link in the podcast description or head to wealthywoman.co/breakdown. To make sure you don't miss an episode, be sure to subscribe. And for daily online practice insights, follow me on Instagram at wealthywoman.co. Let's create your life of wealth, full of abundance, purpose, health, wealth, and joy.